Kids love Winnie the Pooh. They're also scared easier than an elderly hamster a loud sneeze from death. So it might surprise you that there's an official Disney game for 3-year-olds injected with scenes of abject horror and misery, including a final level where you have to save your friends from drowning. This is Piglet's big game. If you look at the cover, it appears that the previous owner has clawed away at the imagery in a desperate attempt to forget the horrors within. A great sign of things to come. And if you want to help forget your horrors, consider subscribing to the channel. On starting the game, we're immediately met with Piglet's big arse. Is that Piglet's ass? Before I could process that flashbang, Piglet sees a visual representation of a Redditor's stench descending on Tigger, leading to him running to Christopher Robin for help. He gaslights him into thinking he's a little bitch who saw nothing.
Please save me, Christopher Robin.
It's just your imagination. What a frightened little piglet you are.
Yeah, what a fucking idiot you are. But the true nightmares can't begin until Piglet explores characters' dreams. Luckily, there's this unexplained dream-entering telescope nestled on this hill. Pooh's dream is set in a candy world with saturation levels rivaling a Mr. Beast thumbnail. I extracted the bear from a mound of caramel before he sent me to Rabbit's house in search of honey. He gives a warning before entering.
You know there may be lumps in there. You should be rather careful.
Heffalumps are like the boogeymen of the franchise, but are shown to actually be misunderstood gentle elephant creatures. So colour me surprised when Piglet immediately dream executes them like Freddy Krueger and crafts them into a mini elephant's foot, complete with radiation. This was mildly upsetting, and the game appeared to agree because the music suddenly switched to this horrifying song which uses the same sample library as Silent Hill. The name of the sound is Ambient04, and I found the source on an over-decade-old forum post by user Peronmiss. This shit was only the tip of the iceberg as a biscuit door crumbled, revealing a dark corridor lined with unopened birthday presents. Perhaps the party guests heard the murder from the other room because this place looks like a celebration suddenly turned to panic. Empty cups litter the floor. The lighting rivals a disused slaughterhouse, and a broken record plays on repeat. The feeling of deep unease continues until you get past these rooms. The rest of the level is uneventful, but I couldn't get too comfortable as it wasn't long until the game would turn dark again. This is actually a pacing tactic used in many horror games. For example, in Amnesia: The Dark Descent, right after a terrifying scene you're often placed into a calm environment after to make the next area feel worse. After successfully ruining birthdays for children worldwide, I guess the developers wanted to one-up themselves by irreparably damaging more beloved childhood activities. The beginning of Rue's dream is laid back and set in a bright cardboard land. 20 minutes later, we follow a faceless magician into a cursed Samosa in search of Rue's stolen ball. Apparently he stole my audio too because my mic didn't capture during this scene. I think whatever I said upset him. To progress through levels, you can find puppet booths dotted around. The Cookie Monster must be encased within as the machines only accept payment via the hundreds of sweet treats found by kicking the shit out of everything in sight. The curtains open revealing a soulless clone of Piglet. It suddenly snaps around and jump scares the real one. This mechanic teaches him a new scary face, which can be used to kill enemies more effectively. The gameplay, however, often takes a backseat to the overall ambience of the world. This is captured perfectly in Owl's dream. Almost this whole area is nightmarish, with me immediately coming face to face with Winnie the Pooh locked in a library with creatures hungry for his sugary flesh. We play as him and have to, sprint through rooms to find a way to open the door. After this, he fucks off unfazed to consume more honey. I wanna be more like Pooh. The soundscape of the library is actively hostile to listen to. Other rooms had an ethereal vibe which reminded me of Franbo or Alice in Wonderland. Both IPs have mental health themes and I couldn't shake the feeling that Piglet's big game shares it too. The dreams focus on characters' mental health problems, such as eating disorders, memory loss, and soon depression. Interestingly, a team of researchers did a study looking into exactly this across the Winnie the Pooh characters. Reading through, it's definitely a product of its time. For one, I don't think we use this term anymore. Then, about halfway through it began to read like a poorly written fanfic. We predict we will one day see a delinquent, jaded, adolescent Roo hanging out late at night at the top of the forest, the ground littered with broken bottles of extracts of malt and the butts of smoked thistles. Why did they come to this conclusion? Because Kanga is a single mother. I think we can rule out this game theory. But we can still see that Eeyore is as happy as a summer's day in the UK. His dream is about descending into a colourless castle decaying beneath his house. But don't worry, because we first have to traverse through this fucked fairy tale forest, which did have some lovely vibrant hues such as sad brown and Jacksepticeye green. Once inside, this luck ran out, with me having to return the colour to his dream. To get this colour, Piglet has to collect balls. Take a guess at what happens once this is complete. That's right, the floor opens beneath Piglet and he falls into a bottomless well. What the fuck? Holy fuck, what the fuck? I was not expecting that to happen. The regularly scheduled misery continued as he got stuck in a seemingly endless loop of killing and well diving, with a GTA 5 drug trip filter becoming more and more visible with each elephant execution. The dream gods must have eventually been satisfied as I was let into Rabbit's vegetable patch. He runs a carrot factory with the safety culture of a Victorian mine. Plus there's these enemies which I assume are here to help kids get into gambling debt early. A final adventure before a delightful drowning returns us to horror with a haunted house in Tigger's empty carnival. Oh, and this lovely maze taken straight out of The Shining. You return Tigger's stripes, but now something is wrong in the real world. The 100-acre woods are flooding and your friend's deaths are imminent.
As everyone slept peacefully, the rain continued to fall. Down and down it fell. If this continued, the water would rise over Piglet's friends who were all asleep.
Fun for all the family. The characters are each on islands awaiting saviour before they presumably get munched on by several monsters who don't seem happy to be sharing their future gravesite. Piglet has to complete tasks such as rescuing Roo from a giant bee, killing other enemies, and gently reminding Owlie he has fucking wings and should use them. With me being worse at gaming than an IGN journalist, this took me several attempts as there's no checkpoints. If you fail, the screen simply fades to black after showing an enemy approaching, which is arguably more scary than an animation. The narrator assures us that Piglet can try again, but last time I checked, pigs don't have the ability to time travel. A child me would be haunted by this scene. Just as you think it's over, the stench returns, very real and ready to kill you all. Piglet uses a scary face, and I imagine a can of Febreze to save the day. So why did Disney allow any of this? The company is actually no stranger to adding elements of horror into projects like this. A Winnie the Pooh ride at Disney World has a storm which I remember terrifying me when I was younger. And many other historical rides and movies have leaned into fear. Looking at Tumblr, we can also find an interview completed by Eurothug4000 with a developer of the game. They stated that Disney supported the idea of the horror experience wholeheartedly. I'll link that below if you want to read the whole thing. We often feel powerless to control dreams as a kid, so I took a positive message from this game. You're the hero saving everyone from their fears. I almost feel like this would have been helpful to a younger me to play as I was such a fearful little bitch. Fear in a controlled way is a formative experience that allows us to get scared and learn from it. Thanks so much for watching as always. If you did enjoy this and want to see more, I do have a video on the second channel showing my initial gameplay.